Guys, if you know that you love South Africa and you're really interested in the future of South Africa, you must watch this interview to really understand the employment landscape and the coming joblessness bloodbath, all right, that might be hitting South Africa if we do not take action and if the government doesn't take action. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you to you guys for supporting this channel. We just reached 50,000 subscribers, and I'm really grateful, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to achieve that. Take a pause and imagine the reality of the fact that out of over 60 million people living in South Africa, 25 million do not have a job. In other words, when 25 million people in South Africa wake up every day, they do not have a place to go to earn money in this really harsh world to survive. It's mind-boggling. So I just found a chart that actually shows the fact that this is a really interesting chart for me. It actually says that there's a labor force in South Africa that is made up of 41.3 million people. Now, out of that 41.3 million people, 16.7 million are actually employed, all right? 16.7 million out of 41.3 million people, and 41.3 million people is actually made up of people who are aged 15 to 64 years old, which is really regarded as the working age in South Africa, all right? So out of people in South Africa who are 15 to 64 year old, 16 million of that population have a job. They go up, they wake up every day, they go to a place where they earn a living, a salary, and are able to fend for themselves and their families. 25 million out of that 41.3 million do not have any means of income. In fact, it's actually argued, broken down here, that this 25 million isn't just really, a bulk of people. First of all, it's made up of 8.4 million people who are unemployed. And these unemployed 8.4 million are actually people who have not had a job for more than a year. All right. It actually speaks of people who haven't had a job for more than a year. Now, there's now an extra 3.2 million within the whole within the whole 25 million who are jobless. There are 3.2 million who are actually discouraged. All right, they are discouraged work seekers. These guys are different from the previous guys who are 8.4 million who have tried to find a job only within 1 year. These 3.2 million now have been applying for jobs over years, probably over 5 years, 7 years, 9 years, 15 years, and now are discouraged. They do not feel that they can ever get a job in South Africa. 3.2 million of the people living in South Africa make up that space. And now there's now an extra 13.1 million that is actually regarded or referred to as not economically active. In other words, they are not active enough to contribute economically. They just sleep, wake up in South Africa, sleep, wake up. Probably this will be maybe retired people or so, or maybe old people who might actually be dependent on SASSA or something. For some reason, they are not just active economically. They are 13.1 million. So this is a real heavy burden on the economy of South Africa. It's really, sometimes I ask myself, how did we get here? I actually even saw a report the other day that actually said that even on the continent of Africa itself, there are actually about 5 or 6 countries that make up 50% of the GDP of the continent. And I'm asking myself, how did Africa get here? How did South Africa get here to the point where out of 41.3 million people who actually can work, 25 million do not have a job? And we still have a lot of people changing their tax residencies. We have doctors who are actually as much as 1,800 doctors unemployed. We have, it's said that in South Africa, 1.7 million, 1,700 billionaires have left. In fact, even on the comment today, I saw one guy who actually spoke to the fact that I think last year he left with his 3.75 billion left South Africa because he just couldn't find a vision, a future for the nation of South Africa. So all of that taxpayer, all of that taxable income and all that leaving the country is something that I really hope that we can keep on talking about, so we can have our voices to the roof, so that the government and those in power can really understand the gravity of this situation. Now, to even heighten this, I actually found a comment just below the article here where I actually found these charts. And I think this comment is really worthwhile to begin this discussion. The comment, after analyzing this whole unemployment stats in South Africa, the guy goes and says this. He says, I'm looking for a basic house painting or plastering course in KZN to help a young unemployed guy get a skill. Have found nothing on offer, and we wonder why unemployment is so rife. Where are the training facilities to upskill young people in basics like plumbing, building skills, carpentry, etc.? So this is a problem, I think, that, and this year I've decided to tackle, these whole issues with unemployment from a solutions-oriented perspective and not just complaining. All right. I know that there are many of you who watch this channel aged 40 to 50 to 60. Most of you actually have these skills, carpentry skills, really important skills that could actually help the young unemployed people in South Africa. I really wish that you do not, this is not actually in a colloquial way, but I really wish that those skills do not go with you to, the grave. But somehow we really need to excavate those skills and have a way to transfer them to the young people. And this is why I'm really thinking and really planning and designing some courses on YouTube to really get you guys online. I'm going to take you hand in hand. That's my plan, the vision I have, to get you online and hopefully get you to teach the skills you still have. All right, that might be redundant, that might not be really appreciated in South Africa by the, environment, the business environment, the working environment and all that. And have those courses, that knowledge on YouTube, so that the young upcoming people in South Africa, the youth, we saw the celebrations on the matric results that there are lots of young people coming into the marketplace, and there will necessarily not be jobs waiting for them, because we already have a backlog of 25 million South Africans who are looking for a job. So I'm really working on creating these courses on YouTube to have you guys, hopefully, if you guys can enroll in these courses, get on these courses, get to transfer these skills, teach them online, and hopefully we see if we can do our own part as citizens of the continent of Africa. If our governments aren't really waking up to really smell the truth about the coffee going on, let's do our own part. All right. So I'll really appreciate if you guys actually type "I'm interested" in the comments. I want to really see how much people would be willing to engage in this kind of course, to really, engage in teaching what you know, and have you get on YouTube in a matter of weeks, so that you can start teaching and even earning for yourself, to help yourself, in South Africa, as little as meager as possible. But whatever the case is, our goal is to try to keep that knowledge really perpetuating, so that the younger generation can come to really learn these basic courses like, plumbing, plastering. These are skills I know that many of you who watch this channel, I know that the age bracket is from 50 to 65. I have a lot of you who are 45 and above who watch this channel. The world is going technical. The world is going digital. All right. So I'm really interested in really having you hand in hand, bringing you up to really train you to teach on YouTube and have those skills online, so that the young upcoming South Africans and possibly Africans who will be coming up would see this and have these skills, readily learnable as digital forms, and hopefully perpetuate a much more working environment where they do not have to depend so much on these jobs that are not even available in South Africa. All right. But anyway, in this video, I just wanted us to watch this really interesting interview by this labor analyst, Patrick Dale. He's actually speaking on the challenges of unemployment in South Africa, you know, the things with upskilling the people in South Africa, the challenges with the business environment and the government policies that are stifling the nation. It's really a powerful interview. I really admonish that you guys watch till the end, because he speaks about some things that should get us thinking about the future of South Africa. So let's watch Patrick Dale break down these issues and share
Let's get on over to South Africa's economy a little bit now. And South Africa's unemployment crisis continues to have the country in a chokehold. The economy continues to bleed jobs and workers continue to struggle to stay employed. And although data from Stats SA has shown some recovery in the jobs market, more still needs to be done. To reflect on the South African employment landscape in 2024, I'm joined by labor analyst Patrick Dale. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us then here as well. One thing is for sure, South Africa's employment landscape has always been a difficult one to kind of wrap your head around because of just the high levels of unemployment, whether it be youth or the official statistics. And it just seems to get a lot more difficult with every passing year.
Good afternoon to you. And it certainly is. It's not a good year-end message to be able to be talking about now. But there have been massive job losses consistently throughout the year. And it is a sign of a stressed economy, an economy which in particular sectors like mining has come under real pressure. And they've found themselves as price takers particularly in the platinum section or sector, for example, where platinum prices are low, and big organizations, big companies like Anglo Platinum, Impala Platinum, and so on, have had no option but to reduce cost, improve productivity in response to the low prices of platinum that are on the market available. So it's very distressing, and we're constantly seeing in various sectors job losses that are unfolding, and there is no end in sight. In fact, particularly in the mining section, there are even more possible retrenchments on the way at the beginning of the new year, which is cause for serious concern.
Is this because South Africa has not advanced with regards to the kind of workforce it has? Maybe, a difficulty with regards to the sectors we're trying to enter as well then as a country in order to continue to grow? Are we still stuck perhaps with some of the older labor that perhaps has changed as time goes by?
To some extent we are, particularly in the traditional sectors where, like mining, where we have been extracting the metals and exporting them for beneficiation. And it's long been said over the years that we should be not only extracting it, but beneficiating it to add the value and then to export. And that would expand the mining sector and the derivations of the mining sector enormously. But it's happened in some respects, but regrettably not. And in any event, when prices are determined elsewhere on a global exchange, there's nothing one can do about it except to respond to the prices. If the prices are high, then there's a feast, but when prices are low, there's a famine. And in other sectors, in manufacturing, for example, they've taken a bit of a hammering over the last year, and we have been bleeding jobs in that area, particularly due to cheaper imports from other countries like China, and the government has been trying to put measures in place to try and protect the market. But unfortunately, the labor cost structure in other countries like China is structurally much lower than it is in South Africa, and having to adapt to compete with them is very difficult. But I must say, insofar as the state is concerned, they have put measures in place as something of a social net to try and manage through this difficult time. There is a scheme which is called the Temporary Employer-Employee Relief Scheme, which is a derivation of the original TERS, which we had during COVID, which helped companies to get through COVID when they couldn't do business, and their employees were unable to get salaries, and the TERS system was helping them. It's now been adapted for retrenchments that are happening now, and there's a particular set of laws where employers can draw upon and make applications for TERS relief, and the funding comes from the unemployment fund, which still has quite a large sum of money available.
Yeah,
that is something that the state is intervening a lot in to try and assist.
Patrick, what about moving up the value chain? You speak about manufacturing. Are we still not perhaps at the bottom of that value chain as opposed to trying to move up, ensuring greater skills for a lot of our workers, meaning that they're a lot more advanced and we get to do a lot more, and productivity ultimately perhaps increases and we see gains?
Way behind the technological advances. We've seen in other countries that robotics and other forms of manufacturing are replacing workers. And more recently, obviously, the big thing is AI, which is replacing a lot of work functions, repetitive types of tasks. And we are lagging behind. And we do need to catch up on a lot of these tasks. And unfortunately, the irony is that if you don't have the base of skills to be able to transfer from your current skill set into the technological one, you don't have basic understandings of maths and logistics and thinking along those ways. It's difficult to learn the new skills to be adapt so that individuals can participate in the more technologically advanced forms of manufacturing and use of robots. So it is a problem, and we are far behind. We've got a long way to catch up. There are efforts being made, however, and there are many advances made, particularly in the automobile industry in this country, is actually pretty far ahead, where we are making cars on production lines with a lot of automation that is benefiting South Africa's economy greatly and being able to compete internationally, even though we have different structures in this country. So there are signs of progress in relation to technological advances, but we do need a lot more that needs to move us up, as you correctly say, up the value chain to make it more effective as an overall economy, and overall to uplift the skills of the labor market to be able to participate fully in them. So at the end, it's got to do with building a skilled labor force with different skills and new skills that can adapt quickly to changes. Changes happen, as we know, with cell phones. They get upgraded every 18 months. So does technology being graded every month. And the faster that technology evolves, the faster we need to run to keep up.
Sure.
So it is a race to keep up with the technology.
Patrick, very quickly, NDP goals effectively out the window. I mean, that feels like it's completely dead in the water. 2030 is around the corner. We're nowhere near reaching any of those goals. Is policy holding us back?
I'm afraid so. You know, the overall plan, if you look at it in detail, I mean, it's a good plan, but unfortunately it hasn't been supported. It hasn't been focused enough to be able to concentrate on the areas in which developments can be made. There have been some successes. There have been some successes, notably in agriculture and in the motor industry, but there is a lot more that can be done. And as I say, there has been a lot of resistance to pushing the National Development Plan along, but not fast enough. The rest of the world is developing so much faster than we are. We need to generate a bit of speed or momentum into it to make it more successful. So there's a lot needs to be done, and it needs to be Plan A, and to focus the country on the National Development Plan and other ones like it, so that we can improve the productivity that you rightfully talk about, so that everything is focused on it.